everybody. Come on over to Simply Fit and hear us talk about some tips on how to combat loneliness. Hope to see you guys there.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Simply Fit. I'm your host, Sandy White, and as usual, I am super duper excited. I got my baby sister again tonight. Yay! All right, guys, let me do a little bit of announcement, then we're going to get rocking and rolling. We're going to talk about combating loneliness. Valentine's Day is coming up, and for a lot of people, that seems to be a challenge. And so, as you all know, if you were on the last episode Tracy was on, she is a provisional licensed counselor, so we asked her to come back again to talk about this very necessary topic. All right, so I want to thank WYTV7 for allowing Simply Fit Radio to be a part of the Christian Broadcasters Network. Please remember that we are a nonprofit organization, and if you want to continue to receive fitness tips and strategy segments from Simply Fit Radio, please click the donate button and make a generous donation. Simply Fit's mission is to provide simple tips and strategies to individuals so that they can be fit in their mind, body, and soul, thus allowing each of us the opportunity to share our gifts with the world rather than having them aborted by Satan. Remember, being fit is more than just exercise. Hey guys, as I mentioned before, Valentine's Day is coming up, and that seems to be a trigger kicker for a lot of folks when it comes to being lonely. So we just realize that loneliness isn't a fact, it's just a feeling. And for most of us, well, remember last week we talked about the being in a stuck area. Loneliness can fall in that area. It can fall in the stuck area. You got to recognize what's going on and then get up and move. Go volunteer. Go do something for someone. And I read an article, a research article in the AARP not too long ago that was talking about loneliness. And it surprised me, all of the symptoms that you can actually get when you're operating in that loneliness spot, or as we want to say again tonight, the stuck area. It actually messes with your metabolic syndrome, your abdominal, it causes abdominal obesity, it causes high blood pressure, it can mess with your insulin resistance, it can increase your chances of having a stroke, a heart attack, disease, and type 2 diabetes. These are things that we want to move away from, and this is why I have asked my sister to come back on, Tracy Parnell. She is a provisional licensed counselor, and her passion is to help people find their way so that they can have the best version of themselves. So without further ado, I want to welcome her to the show again, and let's get rocking and rolling. How are you doing tonight, Tracy?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So like I already said, Valentine's Day is coming around. That's a kicker for most people, because folks feel that, oh, I don't have anybody. They're making this big deal about people doing stuff. And my thing is simple tips and strategies. Here's one right here, and then Tracy's going to take over with some more tips and strategies to combat loneliness. Send yourself, preset a date with the florist, send yourself some flowers. Preset a time, send yourself in the mail some cards. So you get one 7 days prior to Valentine's Day, 7 days after Valentine's Day. Take your mind off of being lonely. So Tracy, go ahead, jump in, baby.
So sometimes we like to not really face issues head on. So we sit and we're in our room and we're by ourselves. So automatically we feel like we're lonely. Oh, there's nobody around to hug me. There's nobody here. But if you step outside of that moment in time, I want you to identify if you have family members or friends that are open and available for you to pick up the phone and call and have an arbitrary conversation, or, go over to a friend's house and have dinner with them. Sometimes we get into this space where we don't want to be bothered, and we forget that there are going to be times where we need that saturation of intimacy from other people. Intimacy is not just being hugged and kissed and rubbed on. It's actually having somebody listen to you and you listen to them. So the very first thing that I wrote down, because I have a list, there's so many things you can do, like you mentioned a few earlier, but one thing is to reach out to family and friends, network, make a connection of people that you can trust, that at any given moment, if you pick up the phone or you text them and say, hey, I need you, hey, I'm here, let's go. Or I might be a little busy, but in an hour, I'm at your house, or we can go to the show, So those are some things that we don't think about. We'll rather sit with that emotion instead of trying to do something, like you said earlier, to combat it. So reaching out to family and friends is a good one. The next one is practice self-kindness. So it very well might be a time where you are no longer with a person, or a person has passed away and you pretty much are lonely. Those feelings do come up because you miss that person or you wish you were with that person. Well, you are a person too. So celebrate yourself. Give yourself that love. Take yourself to the show. Take yourself out to dinner. Do some things that are going to make you feel good about you. Take a new exercise class. Go get your feet done. Go get your hair done. When you go to the barbershop and the beauty shop, now I'm going to tell you, I don't like it. I hate going to the beauty shop and the barbershop because I get my sides cut because it's so many people. But when I get there, the conversation is flowing and people are happy. Jump in the conversations. Don't just be a wallflower. Talk to people. All of those kind of different motions help you feel like you're worth something, and it takes you away from the space of being lonely. These things that I'm mentioning and the things that I will mention, you'll notice all have to do with you doing activity. You have to get up and do something. You have to engage or do something in order to ensure that you are coming out of that emotion or that feeling. So also, when you're practicing self-kindness, don't blame yourself. Don't think about all the negative things. You got to stop the negative self-talk. You got to stop that cycle. Some of the things that I teach my clients when they come in to see me, they're just like, I can't understand why I'm so sad, and I just think about this. I tell them to put a rubber band around their arm, and each time that they identify that they're going into a negative thought, pop the rubber band and say, oh no, I'm better than this. I woke up this morning, I have food in my refrigerator, I have clothes on my back, I have a job to go to. Just start listing things that you're grateful for, but the rubber band pops you out of that negative reality, giving you the opportunity to change your mind. So that positive self-talk is a good tool to combat loneliness too. Another thing is to show yourself friendly. So we go out in the streets and we go to the stores and we're so busy. We go to work, we go to school, and we don't look up and smile. We don't talk to the cashier when we're giving them our money, or people in the store when they're walking past us. Those little small friendly conversations invoke different emotions that can also pull you out of loneliness. So, we have to be intentional in our interactions, or else we carry around again those negative emotions and those negative feelings that keep us from being able to enjoy the present moment or enjoy the people that's in front of us. So being present and intentional will also assist us in combating loneliness. Shift your focus. You mentioned earlier, volunteer. You can shift your focus by becoming a mentor in the school system. You can volunteer at a pet shelter. I don't know about homeless shelters. Sometimes they'll let you in, sometimes they won't. So you have to do background checks and things like that. But animal shelters will let you right on in, because there are a lot of pets with no owners that'll let you pet them. And when you pet dogs or cats, it automatically changes your emotions and how you feel. Go to church, volunteer with the youth ministry. Those kids will talk your ears off. Their parents will ask you a million questions. Hey, my kid is feeling like this, doing this. So if you really want to come away from that loneliness, engage yourself in a community that needs you, and that'll automatically pull something from you that'll assist you in not feeling lonely. Pick a hobby. And you can even do things like around the holidays, I do drives. So I have dogs. I don't have kids. So I do shelter drives. So I pet foods and clothes. And we do, like a couple years ago, we picked a family and we did them too. And we just gave back. Going to shop for those things make you feel good, because it's not for you. It's going to somebody else. So, there are a multitude of things that you can do to combat loneliness. But first, we have to identify why we're feeling that way. Is it something that we are doing? Did we seclude ourselves? Are we pulling ourselves away from society, away from family and friends? Or, am I really lonely because everybody died around me? Everybody left me. Everybody, group therapy is another thing that would be, great for people that are dealing with loneliness, because you'll sit in rooms with people who are dealing with the same thing so that you know that you're not alone. So those are a few of the tips that I have for combating loneliness, but they all require intentional movement on your behalf.
Oh, those are really great. So I'm going to sum up and then piggyback on some and maybe elaborate. You basically gave a plan of action to combat loneliness. And that's when you don't do that, you're creating a negative habit for yourself. So you basically want to get out of that habit. And I like the rubber band pop. So that could be like number one, as soon as I start feeling, lonely, and I'm not identifying why am I feeling like that, I'm just all of a sudden overwhelmed about whatever. Let's just do this rubber band pop, bring myself back to the present moment. And now what else can I do in this plan of action? Oh, I could call somebody. That's one of the things but when you call them, which is what Tracy mentioned, when you call somebody, don't call someone that's not going to assist you moving forward, that's just going to allow you to wallow in the situation. You want to get somebody that's safe, whether it's a family member or a friend that's going to move you out of it, or someone like Tracy. Either way, that needs to be on your action plan, and it needs to be somebody that's safe. And then you want to just identify, feeling lonely is a scary feeling, scary place. We've all been there. I personally I'm not a total introvert, but I love me some me. And it gets on my husband's nerves because it's like, how long are you going to be by yourself? I mean, I'm telling you all the stuff Tracy telling you all to do. I do it, but I have to have balance with it. I have to recognize, okay, how much time, and I have a family, so I can't be all into me 24 hours a day. I have to have balance, and I also have children. So you have to have balance with that. It's okay to have alone time, but you could be in a crowd and feel lonely. And when you're in those situations where you're in a crowd setting and you still feel lonely, that's when you do the rubber band pop and find out, okay, what emotion just came up, or what memory just came up that made me feel like this. Okay, so you're in a crowd, you're feeling like that, you do the rubber band pop. Okay, I can't go and call somebody, but how about stepping outside your comfort zone and going to introduce yourself to somebody new, and not just introduce yourself to somebody new just because, okay, I'm feeling lonely. Have a you're going to have to do this in 30 seconds or less. So you got to practice this. So you just can't say, okay, we're going to do this plan of action today. You got to practice until it becomes really, really natural to you. So when you feel like that, okay, I'm in a crowd, because she did mention to you, I'll go talk to some strangers. Okay, but when I go up there, I'm going to have a plan. That way you don't sound wacky, when you're coming up to somebody. But have especially if you're in a party setting, a lot of corporate individuals, unfortunately, they end up, I guess, in that, when I wanted to say that report, it was mainly about a lot of high executive individuals, because you don't know who to trust. You don't know why the person likes you. So these could be the things that you basically, when you're talking to a stranger, you're trying to find common interests. She also mentioned to you guys, go and get into a group. Don't just get into any kind of group. Get into a group where you want to build a rapport with someone that you want to have long-term relationships with. You start off as strangers, but if you use that mentality, then it moves into the point where it no longer is just a stranger you're talking to. And you also move out of this loneliness, because, as she mentioned before, you want, it's not necessarily the hugging, the kissing, the feeling. You just want to be validated by someone. So if you're in these groups like that you like, start off with that. Start off and maybe volunteering in that group, which causes people to have to come up to you and you automatically have to talk. Here's a tip that I like to do, because I am one that I practice what I'm preaching. I know when I'm in a setting, I don't know anybody, I I want you to come up to me. So I force people to come up to me because I'll have something crazy on, something that is like a conversation piece that I know somebody's going to come up and ask me, what is that? Or, oh, this is really cute. Or, oh, where did you get this from? And boom, guess what? If you're practicing these things that Tracy has already mentioned to you, then this is going to be natural. And now you're moving from the stranger into a rapport building process here, and it doesn't feel so scary. Does that make sense, Tracy?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't want you to just jump all the way out there and you sound to be like an extroverted introvert. So when you're in a crowd, you can go out and you can do it, but you recharge yourself by being by yourself. You don't necessarily need a bunch of people around you. Some people are introverted introverts, and just thinking about going up to other people could raise anxiety. So you can start with you going to the store, you got to hand your money to the cashier. Hey, how you doing today? How's your day going? Really simple. You have a purpose. I'm going to give them my money. So I'm going to intentionally say, hey, how you doing today? Small conversations. People walking past on the street and they stare you down. Good morning. How are you? It doesn't have to be a full-fledged conversation because that can give anxiety, but you're right. It has to be an intentional movement for them.
Yes, nice little baby steps. And the other one that I like, you mentioned this on the last time you were on the show, the kindness jar, or you can call it the gratitude jar, because you did mention that people need to write down things that they're grateful for. But how about putting these things in a jar so when you're feeling this, loneliness or uncomfortability or whatever the memory comes up or whatever, and you want to get out of that, and you have this kindness jar, you could go to that jar and start reading all of these things that you're grateful for, or the happy memories that you had, or you want to have, you want to experience. And then you could also do write down 101 things that you want to do before you die, and then do a plan of action to actually make it happen. And that's going to take you a bit. And that'll shift, which Tracy already mentioned to you guys, that will shift your thinking from in that loneliness spot into, something else. And on that 101 list of things to do, as usual, it is volunteer and helping someone else should be the number one thing. If you take the focus off yourself and onto someone else, onto assisting someone else, and she mentioned going to church. I love dogs. I am a dog person. Cats are cute, but I love dogs. And reason being, because these jokers are gonna make you get up. They want to go for a walk. They're just gonna force you to interact with them. Where cats are more they're like I said, they're cute, but they're not lonely, but they like being alone. They don't care too much for you touching it. So that's not going to help a person. So if you're listening and you're in that lonely category, that stuck feeling, a cat is not going to be the best pet for you, and a fish definitely isn't going to be the best pet for you. But they're beautiful to look at. They really are. You could go to the aquarium. You just want to get yourself into a happy zone. And that gratitude jar, that man, when you were talking, I just remember last time you were on, when you did part 1, that is so important. And you might want to have this on your phone, so it's not going to be a gratitude jar, but you can have it electronically, and you can flip through the stuff. So you find yourself tripping, you go through on your phone where you have all your gratitude stored at. Just have them in different places. I think that's a good way to get this kicked off so that you stay in the zone. And as I mentioned before, you got to practice. This is, as Tracy mentioned, these are baby steps. You're not going to just jump into it and then be all anxious about, what you just put yourself into, your plan of action. And you want to be able to stick to it. You want to be consistent. So Tracy, do you have any other thing? Oh, let me ask you this. Do you have a group set up right now, or that maybe y'all are going to be doing anytime soon in the Missouri area? Like I said, I just picked Valentine's Day because it's coming up, but most holidays really trigger loneliness with some people if they haven't put this plan of action in.
I will say that for us as a private practice, we don't have any group set up as of yet, but I am looking into creating some. But you can always do individual therapy. So if the feelings or the emotions are so deep that rubber bands don't work and journaling doesn't work and talking to your mom or your dad or your best friend or your sisters don't work, if none of that works, if all else fails, you can definitely contact a professional and they will one-on-one talk you through the feelings and emotions that you're having, and they will help you create a plan that's tailored just for you so that you can identify how to come out of this. Valentine's Day comes once a year, but we still have birthdays and Christmas and New Year's and your mom's birthday and anything that could trigger those emotions of loneliness. And the goal of therapy is to get you to be able to identify it, recognize it, be okay with that emotion, and then move from it, not sit in it. So, you can always go to individual therapy. Any therapist in any state can sit and help you tailor an individual plan for you to keep you from going so far down that spiral that, you potentially lose yourself.
That is true. Hey, one of the things I know that you mentioned, which was the affirmations. So if you guys want to go back onto WYTV7.org, Blessed had a really, really wonderful guest on. She actually put the affirmations to music. So this is something that you can do, and I apologize because I did not get her name, but if you go on there, just look for the affirmation podcast. And she also has a journal on the Amazon store that you could get, and you can, and all of the things that Tracy was talking about, you can put in that journal. So that's going to be really helpful for you as well. Tracy, we are at the end of our hour. I love it. We were having so much fun, but I didn't realize that we were out of time. So can you tell our listening audience how to reach you? Now, she is in Missouri and things are working in play for now, but until, the webinars and all of these other wonderful things she has created and she's going to be doing later on come to fruition, she's going to tell you guys how you can reach her in Missouri. If you're in the Missouri area or surrounding areas where you can, well, actually, before I say that, let me let you tell them, because I don't want to get you in trouble.
So each therapist or doctor or anybody with a license is licensed in a state to operate. So I'm licensed in the state of Missouri. So if you're in Missouri, you can communicate with me. And I also have the ability to do telehealth. So if you're in Missouri and you're super far away and you do want to speak to me, we can do telehealth, which is video chatting, kind of like, what webinars are like. But you can always find me on Psychology Today. Psychology Today has all of my up-to-date information. That is Psychology Today. And if you look my name up, you'll find me, and it's attached to my email and my telephone and my counseling site. So you'll have all of that information up there. So if you do want to see me, you do want an appointment, you can go right to Psychology Today and find me there.
Outstanding. Hey guys, we have had a wonderful time here with Tracy Parnell, and that is my youngest sister, so of course I'm very proud of her. So if you are in the Missouri area, please go and visit with her. As she mentioned before, all of the things that we did discuss during our time here this evening are not working the way you would like. Please reach out to her. Hey guys, I'm your host, Sandy White of Simply Fit Radio. It has been a blast tonight. Remember that we are a nonprofit organization, and I am a part of the WYTV7 Broadcasters Network. So if you want to continue to see broadcasts like this and the other ones that are on WYTV7, please make a generous donation. This is a nonprofit organization. They do wonderful things in the community, and we want to continue to do these things. So please make a donation, and we will see you guys next week. And remember, I am on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am broadcasting from the Upper Marlboro area. So reach out to me on sndrwht720@gmail.com, or go to WYTV7.org, Simply Fit, and that you'll find that once you click on the broadcasters button and just scroll down, you'll see Simply Fit. Leave me a message, leave me a comment. We love to help you with more simple tips and strategies. And if you guys remember last week, we did talk about Logic. That is a supplement that helps with brain function. So you might want to check out Modere. That's MODERE.com. Look for Logic and make sure you use the referral code so that you can get $10 off your order. That's 1650006. That is going to be a wrap for us. And we do appreciate you all coming on and hanging out with us this evening. Until next time, see you later.